Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So Steve's just done a Steve, hasn't he? As per usual, because he's a Steve. He rebooted, and now I don't know where he is because he's a spaz. How's it going, John? We listened to his chat yesterday morning. Oh, he's coming back on now. Yesterday morning that chat. Send me a copy when it's done.
Are we live?
Yeah, I
All
started
right,
out
going
here.
straight in. Yeah, no worries.
Where did you go?
Unplugging, rebooting.
Let's say good chat. Hello, Nicole. How are you? How we doing, John? Good evening,
Nicole.
Dean. How we doing? Let me just. Oh God, it's all the way over there.
All good, all good, all good.
Yeah. So, welcome aboard, everybody. Tonight is the Wednesday chat. I do like the Wednesday chat, and it's
Sensible.
Eh?
We're
Sensible.
sensible
Yeah,
today.
I like it. I like finding out about all the stuff.
I like being sensible sometimes.
Yeah, it's good. Well, we are sensible, really. To be fair, I mean,
Yeah, it's all an act.
what, the sensible or the Daphne?
Good night, Paul.
Is Paul here ready? Paul's not here. Oh, there he is. You see that before I do. Good night, Paul. Good night,
I see
Paul.
many things before you.
James Rothwell's here. Hello, James. How you doing, pal? Yeah, everybody say good night to Paul. He's off to bed. Likes to.
Possibly because I've been to the place and you haven't.
Been to what place?
The place.
Oh, right. I'm with you. Good evening, Daz. How you doing? This has been another really good, interesting one to find out, which I knew zero about pretty much. I knew about it. But
Did you? Had you not seen any podcasts on it?
No, as I'm saying, no, I knew of DMT, but I mean, and it's not just DMT. I kind of did that wrong. It's about the psychedelics. The whole thing, yeah.
The psychedelic experience. But I mean, mainly the ayahuasca kind of thing.
Yeah, but they all have that.
We'll get into it.
Yeah, but it's mainly of that how. Because I just thought it was like a place, where like you go, you do it. It's the new drug type. Well, that's the danger of it, isn't it? Really?
Well, it's a fashionable thing, 100%. No matter what, there's a certain fashionable itty about it. That's not the word.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always been like. So let's start from the beginning. Let's bring chat in from the beginning. So we've been looking into all the. I'm sure you're all aware of DMTs, all in chat. All our people know about that kind of stuff. And Erin's here. Hey, it's for the link up for Erin. Yeah. Hello, Erin. Welcome aboard. Erin's one of my other guests couldn't make it tonight. Unfortunately, she lives in Canada and she has work commitments and she tried to make it, but she couldn't do. I'm afraid.
I'm here.
I'm here. There you are, Erin. Just pressing that link, my dear. I'm sure you know the score. She's been on before us, Erin, hasn't she? I do, Dave.
Yeah, I thought about turning things off and that.
No, she's been on before the show, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's been on here. I've been on with Jimmy. It's been on Jimmy's.
No, I think she's been on here before. Ages ago, right back in there. Indika! Ka's here. How you doing, Indika? Yeah. So it's... so basically we were looking into all this on the ayahuasca, which I'd never heard of ayahuasca before. But, and it's a very...
from last week, you never heard of ayahuasca?
I'd never heard of ayahuasca.
I've heard of DMT, but right.
Yeah, I've never heard of the ayahuasca. I've never heard of that before.
Wow.
Because there's all like, obviously there's different ones, don't there? Different countries and different cultures have different... And it's all versions of it, really. I think it all.
Well, the ayahuasca is a very an Amazon thing, Peru and Brazil.
And they have all. Yeah, that's right. But the indigenous people of there use them to get their visions, don't they, and stuff like that. And when you look into, so they use it for all that to the vision stuff, which. Looking as an outsider in, like, you think, well, is it just a way of getting off your tits, like? But it's got a lot.
This is definitely not about getting off your tits.
No, it's not.
It's one of the least drug type things where people would go in there, even trying it, of thinking of, it's not a recreational drug of any form at all.
No, it's not.
It's that strong of a thing. It's I can't see. Well, obviously, it must have happened where people have gone, just try this. but it's not a just try this experience.
No,
Or
it isn't, because it's not pleasurable, is it? It's all that's the thing
no,
about it.
that's the thing. When I was a kid, I was told with the magic mushroom, it was funny as fuck. You'd laugh your head off. You'd see all these. That was sold as a pleasurable, funny experience, and it wasn't. But that's what I was sold it like. Whereas now, the mushroom experience on small doses or whatever, it's a different thing. I just wish I didn't do it when I was younger. I really wish I didn't.
Well, I had it. Here she is. Here's Anna, we're in.
Hey, EE Watts in the house.
Welcome
doing,
aboard,
Erin?
my dear.
You are looking
Yeah.
cool.
You look magnificent. Erin, you look absolutely magnificent.
You really do.
Oh, you're so kind. I'm getting a little echo over here. I wonder if it's.
Yeah, a little bit of echo.
Can you hear
I
me?
think
Yeah, I
you
can
can
hear you.
hear
I can hear you
Yeah,
fine. Yeah.
just touch of echo. It's not too bad.
It is kind of annoying though. I wonder why that would be.
That's fine for me, that. Erin's fine for me.
You're okay, Erin. Crack on.
I'll just on a do. Yeah, EE Watts here. Thank you. I'm wearing Happy X Loco is the name of the designer. Jeremy Salazar. So he came from, so we did a fashion show with him in San Francisco on Saturday night. And so I'm the walking fashion show like this week.
It works. Whatever it is you're going for, it definitely works.
Yeah, it definitely works. Yeah.
So good to see you, Erin. It's hard. It's impossible to see you and not smile.
Oh my gosh, it's been so long since I tell you I had surgery on my eye?
And you're good now. Can you see in both eyes? You're
kind of. There's still like a floater.
Enough.
Like there's still like mostly 2020, but it's a little blurry still.
Yeah.
But pretty much 2020, like 2020 adjacent.
No way. So, you know what the show's about tonight then, Erin?
Yeah, I think we're talking about some psychedelics.
That's the one, yeah. Have you been down and found yourself in the jungle?
Does it look like I've done psychedelics?
Well, what's your history then with psychedelics?
So, yeah, this is an interesting question because if you can actually believe it, the first time I did psychedelics was on my 28th birthday. And Steve, you'll know, at Island Boys, of course.
Yeah.
So
Island Boys, did you?
Yeah, right. I took it after a fucking wild. We throw the birthday party like the night before, so we threw this wild party, and then we woke up the next morning, and it was like a lot of people didn't remember a lot of what happened, but luckily there was like nice videos.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom, Dad, the party years. But yeah. So then I woke up and like things were like people were at various stages of like partying still. Some had been partying all night, some had been to the jungle party, and then my good friend Chris from Australia, mate, like loved to the Australians out there. He was like what are all these people? These people are fucking crazy. And I was like, yeah, I know, like we're crazy too. And I was like, well, I happen to have acid with me. And he's like, you've got acid. So
this is the Island Boys, is it? I'm trying to visualize it.
Island Boys, yeah, April 30th, 2018. So 4 years ago. So it's only taken 4 years of psychedelic
wow, yeah.
Become this.
And what psychedelics? I mean, is it acid you've taken, Erin, or did you get into any of the brews? Or
oh yeah, so since then, so I kind of like, so that was acid or LSD, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, kind of synthetic-y material that I forget the timeline here, but sometimes maybe the 70s, 80s. Someone can fact check me maybe in the comments. Could someone do a little like when was LSD founded and how is it formed?
Oh, 60s.
Yeah, 60s. Oh no, it was discovered in 1943. Well,
Yeah,
it's
but I
before
think-
that. But then the guy who did it accidentally got a dose of LSD. He wasn't sure whether it came through his skin. It was in the late 30s, and he created the molecule. Didn't
Nice.
bother with it, and then in 1943 he thought, I'll go back to that. Did something, kind of ingested it somehow by accident, and then went off his tits and thought, there's something going on here.
It was mainly the 60s were the big breakthrough.
Yeah, and nice. Wow. I love that story. I had not heard that. But yeah, because I was with one of my friends the other day and we had thought that the writer of Alice in Wonderland was tripping on acid.
Mushrooms, I think.
Oh,
I think
Yeah.
Lewis Carroll. That's very. Yeah, it's that place, but it's not acid. I don't think. I'm pretty sure it's not acid. I presumed it was mushrooms. The Lewis Carroll. What year was that then? Alice.
It couldn't have been acid because it was in the late 1800s.
Yeah, of course it was. But pretty sure that's mushrooms anyway. Have you not tried mushrooms before?
Oh, of course I've tried mushrooms. We're just at the tip of the EE psychedelic.
Did you do mushrooms before the LSD?
No, LSD was my first in.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, LSD was my first realm into it, and then mushrooms weren't available. Like mushrooms were like, if you remember in Cambodia, like that was it. Like there was like occasionally a few times like the mushroom guy came and I happened to be like out of town, but they weren't like readily available.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I did LSD was the first one. And then I think I did it like a few times after that, maybe like a month after that, and then a month after that, or a few months. And the first experience was a little, I don't know what you would call, like, it was just like emotional. Like when you take acid, you're like crying, you're like releasing all of this stuff, because the point of psychedelics is to like help you heal this like super traumatic earth experience that we've all been a part of, that's been a whole lot of pain and suffering unnecessarily. So
but originally though, I don't think that it was sold as that, like the 60s LSD experience and the magic mushroom experience. It wasn't really that, as far as I always remember. It was just getting off your head, being high and seeing weird shit. That's what it was always sold to us as kids, when it was that kind of thing.
Yeah, but that's it. Yeah, that's all it was.
Healing. We were just getting off your tits.
When we were kids, because we didn't know, did we?
Yeah.
That's the offshoot of it all, wasn't it? Like, you know, it was all to do with the like I said, just getting off shits and giggles and all that. And I took mushies, little tiny bits of mushies, and I had a good time on it. I only took a little tiny bit. I also had the complete opposite, where I took an absolute bagful, where I went fucking mental. That wasn't good at all. But no, it's now people are, especially psychologists or stuff like that, are realizing how important this stuff can be in dealing with psychological trauma and stuff like that, which really is. And because the problem is in America, and in England as well, of course, the drugs that they give out are just no good. They don't do anything for anybody. They just, they really just flatline them, with all the
masking the problem.
They're masking the problem, but they're also killing the individual, like they have no life. Do you know what I mean? And now they're finding out with through what people have discovered now, because it's a much more all this stuff now that they're taking, like with the psychedelics and stuff. It's a lot more understanding of it now, because when Timothy Leary did the old 67 tune in, drop out thing,
Timothy Leary,
that was the big it kind of killed it. It kind of killed anything going on it because it frightened all the American government to death. Absolutely, because the Vietnam was going on at the time, and they were all worried that all the soldiers wouldn't want to take part if they all, dropped acid, tuned in, and dropped out. So that's why they banned it. They banned it all then, and all research and everything pretty much stopped. And it's only been recently now, the last 10, 15, 20 years, where they started looking into it again, and they've realised what there's such valuable properties that it has, which is really interesting. And as time goes on, maybe now they'll get into it a lot more, and people who have issues and stuff like that.
It seems a lot more accepted, and again, one of the good things about social media and the YouTube world, we get to know more things. We can find out with no idea about this shit before, did we?
Yeah. But nobody, it is really good. It's
did you end up getting ayahuasca, Erin?
So ayahuasca is probably the only psychedelic I haven't done, interestingly enough. Just because it's not, it has
the heart to get hold of there.
It kind of like how the teacher comes when the student is ready. Medicine, the shaman and medicine come when the healer is ready. Like when the person is ready to heal. And to go back to what you said earlier, yeah, of course, it was just like, oh yeah, we want to get off our tits because we want to escape this horrible reality that we're living in. So of course we want to party, and that's why we did that. But now I'm seeing because now that I've went through this whole deep healing process, 3 years of really intense inner work, that it's a key to help free us all. However, it is very important. I want to say this now. I do not do psychedelics unless if I am in ceremony. Yeah. I have in the past. So it is very important because very nefarious, and there are, if you've heard about this, light and dark forces, like a war happening. So if you're a person of the light and you're playing and messing around with psychedelics, not in proper ceremony, which again isn't hard to do. I can't, it's just about being intentional. And I'll have a little how to host a psychedelic experiment. It's just about doing proper protection. You can have kind of lower level entities in this, if you believe in that there's aliens from all these different places. There's some aliens that come from the stars that want to spread love and light, and then there's some aliens that come from the deep nethers who want to feed off of you, and latch on,
Right. So this is part of the trouble with this kind of experience. How much is in the head and how much you're tapping into this unknown world and the thing is, unless you've ever been into that world, you can't truly fully talk about it because it sounds ridiculous.
Now this is,
it doesn't mean that isn't still in the head, but you have to fully go into that place to get where people, when they start talking about Mother Ayahuasca and all these spiritual things that are more than beyond belief, more real than reality is. And unless you can go there, it's very hard for anybody to fully get what people are talking about.
Yeah, but the thing that I've been looking into and I've been finding out about is how the drugs, what part of the brain they influence. Because I've talked about this before. Do you remember I've talked about this before?
No, yeah.
And I wasn't quite sure what it was called. It's the default mode network, it's called, in your brain. Now, this basically is your ego, right? It's your ego as the default mode network. Death, isn't it? Yeah, well, no, yeah, kind of, yeah. What it does, your default mode network, is it sorts out everything in your everyday life. It gets everything sorted out. It sorts out your memories. It sorts out without your memories, there's nothing. You're nothing without memories. You don't exist without memories. But it also sorts everything out, makes sense of everything all about you. Now, when you take, it's because you obviously, you've got everything firing off in your brain. Now, when you take these drugs like ayahuasca and all that kind of stuff, it closes that down a bit. It turns the dial down on that, if you will, which allows all the rest of your brain to pretty much, run around and do what it wants. And then other bits of the brain that wouldn't normally connect direct, they go through this default mode network. But because that's died down, because that's died down, because it's died down, they start forming together and forming networks together, which is amazing. But from what I've been running and reading about, we all know this because we all dream. Because when you're in a deep sleep, it does the same thing. It dials down.
It's a version of it.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's I think the way I'm looking at it and the way I've seen it, it's dreaming.
It's not the same thing.
Nobody's like dreaming. But nobody's like dreaming when you're awake.
It's way beyond dreaming that you place you go to. This is my point where it's impossible to fully describe it unless you've been into that world.
Yeah.
It's impossible to describe it. If you haven't been in there, you can't go.
No.
It doesn't make sense if you've not been there.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I mean, most dreams don't make sense to other people when you tell them.
Not,
I'm not saying.
Yeah.
No, listen, stop.
No,
I'm not. Stop talking over me. When it's I'm not saying it's exactly the same on that. I'm saying it's because it'll obviously turn either the dial up or down more. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, what I'm saying is but when you have that, some people like me, I have amazingly lucid dreams. I don't have as much as I used to, but I used to have and but I mean, it's a kind of way of doing that. The dial might not be turned down as much. I agree with that, but I'm saying it's part of the same thing, where that default node network,
quite possibly, and even more than quite possibly, most likely, I'd say. But my point is, unless you've been there,
no, I agree with that.
You can't.
Because everybody's experience,
indescribable.
Yeah.
You can describe a dream, but you can't describe that place. As in, like for a dream, God, I had this mad dream last night. It was so realistic, and you get I get that it's realistic. It's like you was awake, but you wasn't awake. You were dreaming. Yeah, I totally get that. You can understand a description of a dream. You can't fully talk about that place unless you've been there.
Well, I've been there. I could give it a go.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. That's my point. If you've been there, you can have a go in describing it. But I think if you've been there, do you understand now? It's very hard to describe that place, Erin.
What was your experience, Erin?
Well, so and when we're calling it this place, I think or at least to me, what you mean is what I call the fifth dimension. So have you been talking about like we are here on 3D Earth, and in 3D Earth, there's pain and suffering, and you're in your head and you're hard on yourself, and there's all these horrible things. But in 5D, in the fifth dimension, everything's absolutely magical, and you're literally like, you feel like, the way that I can best physically describe it is, one, you literally feel like you're levitating. Two, you feel like you're a giant. Like I feel like I'm a giant. Like I'm like, everything's giant and everything's and then everything is so soft. It's like everything gets a little bit softer, and everything gets a little bit like nicer, and you're just floating, and you feel like you're floating. And sometimes when you look around, it feels like, or to me, this place, like it feels like I'm like in a, like I was with one of my bro stars the other day, and he was like, feels like we're in like a virtual reality bubble. Like you feel like you're in a bubble. Yeah. Everything's a bubble and everything's bubbly, and then everything happens like when you're in that sort of place. Like it's like people are literally handing me money, and they're like, hey, you want some champagne, you want this? So like all of these like magical things are happening. That's to me, when I hear, if anyone, I don't know if that's what you're describing, Steve, but to me, if I were to say that place, that to me, that would be that place. And I've been spending a whole lot of time there recently, and it's pretty magical.
So how have you been going there recently? What form of
So,
transport, shall we
what
say?
sort of transport? Good question, eh? Because the one thing that I want to say is that I don't use the D word. One, because the D word can alert people to what we're talking about. The
Okay,
DRG.
yeah.
Two, because it's a totally programmed word that basically is keeping, Black Americans in prison, Black and Hispanic and minority Americans in prison in America for no goddamn reason. So I use the word medicine because I believe that all medicine should be legal, so that way it can be studied, so that way it can be.
Yeah, totally.
We can
Definitely.
help people who have problems.
While we're smoking and drinking ourselves to death, the rest
Yeah.
should be fucking allowed to go, whatever it is.
Well, exactly, and that's what we live in 3D Earth. We live in a control matrix where they want to keep us down and they want to lower our vibration. So anything that's legal is going to lower our vibration. So alcohol and cigarettes, those lower your vibration. Anything that's going to raise your vibration, that's going to open up your consciousness, that's going to open up your heart, those are illegal because they were keep us from like knowing the truth. And the truth is that, we are the most powerful force. We are all powerful beings. We're all kings, queens, gods, goddesses, and like deserving of a fully abundant life. Again, they don't want to tell us that.
Well,
So
we're a lot
what?
less. We're a lot less likely to comply, aren't we? If we all, start to open up the windows, if you see, we will be a lot less to comply. Definitely, there's no two ways
Exactly.
about that. But also, there was a thing. There was a brilliant thing that was saying about it, because I'll go into that later on what I found out. But with when they're in their trip and everything, when they're on the journey, the thing is that you're in the moment and there's no ego. Your ego goes. The ego. You don't care about what anybody who's watching you or thinking of you, and your ego diminishes. And this is the thing. And there's a brilliant quote. Where is it? Where did I find that? By, what was he called? That's right. Yeah, by Lao Tzu. If you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present. Which I thought was a brilliant way.
That's quite impressive, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and they said that's the thing about it. It focuses your mind, and you're totally living in that moment. You're not thinking about any kind of a past or a future or anything like that. You're in that moment.
exactly.
But
Boo. I love that quote. I've heard it before, but not in a while. So I thank you for that memory.
yeah.
Not a Lancashire accent.
Because my earth name is Aaron, and Aaron means peace in Gaelic, and it comes from the Greek word eros, which means love. So I am literally peace, that which comes from love. And peace, as you said, peace can only happen at the present party, because it's a party. Life's a party. They've made us the society has been like, oh, don't party, don't do this, that's bad. Because of course they want you to be miserable, staying at home, blah blah blah. Like, we're meant to party, and that's what E.E. Watts is the mostest hostess for the present party. So if you're here, if you're seeing E.E. Watts in your reality, you're here. You're at the present party. We are in full, like, this is meditation right now, because none of us are. Meditation is any time that your brain isn't thinking, and we're either here like I'm listening to you, or I'm speaking. I'm not thinking about what's going to happen next, or like occasionally something comes in and I'm like, no. But this is meditation. This is our version of, it's very powerful stuff. So thanks for having me here, guys. This is so much fun.
It's always good to talk, basically.
Oh yeah, it's brilliant having you on.
Guys in the chat as well. We're not ignoring the chat, but we just don't, hello, PP and Rain. Everyone's here. I can see, but
we're focusing on Aaron, obviously, But no, it's right. But see, that's the interesting thing, though, is when you were talking about meditation, because I've been looking into this now. And I think because I know Steve, and I'd ponder with the idea. I don't know, but I know Steve definitely won't ever take anything. But the meditation, you can still do. You can do the same thing. you can get the same thing. It's the Tibetan mindfulness meditation.
I get scared with like doing the over Wim Hof breathing, basically, because a lot of people talk about it with the lack of oxygen, or what you're doing to your brain is linking to a similar kind of. And when I hear a lot of people talk about it, get high in your own supply and all that, I'm thinking, I don't want to get high in my own supply. I just want to breathe good.
Yeah, but do you know when I'm doing the Wim Hof? Like, it's so when I do, because I can do the 3 minutes with retention with no air, and the greatest thing is because I do 2 minutes retention, then 2 minutes 30, then 3. So when I'm doing the 2, you get your first, and then your brain says you need to breathe, you need to breathe, and you just chill the fuck out and just chill out, and you need to breathe, and it just goes.
Controlling it,
and then you just go, and you just totally go with it. And when I'm getting to the 3 minutes. Whoa there, the colours. I get a ringing in my ears. It's like a and the colours are like, there's loads of colours all over the show. And this is every morning I have this. Every morning. And then the colours are like, whoa there. And I used to be able to do it. If I've been out for a run or something, I can get up to 4 minutes retention doing it. And that is proper intense.
And you think that's a similar kind of
absolutely
thing? Yeah.
And that's
when people talk about get high in your own supply, that's the kind of thing.
But that's the thing that I was saying. Do you know when I sent you the links out? I know you didn't have time to look at it. So I've been looking into it all, and I've been looking into the meditation. I thought, I'm going to go for this meditation. Sam Harris goes on about it. And the meditation is you being in the now. Not anything, no other thoughts, just totally being in the now. And how you can reach that same thing and that same level. And the ego comes in and comes in and comes in. And then all of a sudden, I come up to summer, and it's Wim Hof talking about it. And what he's always been talking about was the amazing thing. I thought, fuck me, he's been saying that all this time, and I've never really understood it. I totally get it, and I totally understand it now. And when I'm doing the retention, and I fight the fear of not being able to breathe, and it's ace. And like I said, and then you start seeing the colours, because he can go for it. He went swimming underwater for 8 minutes, didn't he? Actually swimming, But you think that is just amazing. I thought, I totally get it. So I'm going down the meditation route, mate. That's where I'm going, definitely. Because my brain is just, mine. It's like a pinball machine. I've always got distractions, thoughts coming in all the time. And especially when I get up in the morning, because I think it's because I've been dreaming so much. And when I first get down, I'll lie down, start doing it. I can almost visualize my thoughts just flying around everywhere. And by the time I've done it, everything's quiet.
Well, this is why some ways, not medication, but going gym and working out, doing something physical,
absolutely,
is switching your brain off, because you have to think about whatever. Just say it's running. You say you're jogging or you're doing, and your brain has to think so much about doing that. So what it's doing is having a break from thinking of, oh, fucking hell, or blah, blah, blah. I don't believe, oh, he's a cunt. You haven't got time to think, she's a, he's a, blah, 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 because you're too busy doing something. And that's what that break is doing. And the meditation is a similar thing. And now the psychedelics is a different thing, isn't it? But, no, it really is, because you're opening this world, your third eye thing, or whatever the brain is tapping into. It's a different thing than just going to the gym or meditating.
Well, that's it, because the thing as well is I was watching a Joe Rogan thing when he was talking about it, and he had his friends that did the ceremony and all that, which I agree, you've got to do the ceremony. You can't just go out there and do it live, because it's quite like a violent thing, really, isn't it? People are throwing up, aren't they, when they take the ayahuasca?
Well, this is one of my problems with it. I think your body naturally, if something goes in you, if it's not good for you, it fucking ejects it. And ayahuasca, a lot of the times when people take it, after an hour, once it's absorbed, but your body, they call it something else. They call it like
I know, the cleansing thing and all that.
But I think, well, that's your body saying, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
You don't want you in me. It's not poisonous. So
it's my understanding that the reason, so I would call it a purge, is that it's so one, any proper medicine is gonna like be painful at first. Like any proper ancient medicine, like the things that like make like alcohol makes you feel good and then it makes you feel shit after. So, but like a proper medicine is gonna burn a little bit at first, or cause some sort of pain. But the purge comes from it's so it kind of is. So it's kind of a reaction of like, yes, I want to get this out of my body. Yes, I want to get this poison out of the body. But what it does is it takes all of the junk with you. So we store trauma in our bodies, like, so because you said we're nothing without memory, which is true, and we're 96% water. And if you've ever, like, I'm sure you've like studied the secret of water with that the guy with who did the rice, he put the water in the rice. Have you seen the study before?
No, I haven't seen that, Eric. No, I haven't seen that.
Basically, he put like water, he put rice in 3 things of water, and then he told one of them, I hate you, you absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
And then one of them he ignored, and then one of them he like told that he like loved them, and the one that he like yelled I hate you to like literally completely rotted and molded. Even the ignored one was like starting to go off, and then the loved one started it started bubbling. It like the rice started fermenting, and it like created this kind of like champagne like thing, something bubbly, like but yeah, so we're water, and so our memory, our traumatic memories have been stored in our cells in our body. And then when a medicine, and that's what, yes, ayahuasca is, but you can also have like purges on other psychedelics as well. But it basically comes in, and like you can imagine the medicine flowing throughout your body, and then it's basically like taking all of the like nasty stuff, and you have to get out of it. You have to get it in your body some way. So it's either going to come out your mouth, and that's why, it's either going to come out your mouth or your butt. You know, we know how.
Or it can bring up memories then. So maybe that's why it brings back memories.
Yes.
Because like I said, with the Joe Rogan I was watching, he went down and did a ceremony with his friend, and his friend really freaked out, and he had a proper like whoa there, and he said he was proper like freaking out all over the show. And he was saying,
I think that was Doug Stanhope, wasn't it?
No, I didn't say his name. He just said he was freaking out. And he says, what happened like? And apparently he brought back the trauma. When he was being born, the umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck, and he was throttling him. And he was, they had to get it all off. And he regressed this memory. He brought this memory back. And he proper spazzed him out all over the show. It was really like...
Well... I've heard a good example of how it can heal. For example, like a very common thing that we're scared of dogs. A lot of people are scared of dogs, normally because they've had a traumatic experience with a dog as a child. Say, for example, whatever, a certain dogs, and then you're scared of that dog, you're petrified. And you see a dog coming, your brain automatically goes into the fucking dog, that scenario. What it does, it opens the links in the brain of the memory of it, but it goes into it. It goes back to remembering before you were scared of it, and so because of that, you're more acceptance of the memory of pre-trauma.
Yeah,
helps you understand
the bad side.
Logical fear, because there are logical fears, aren't there? Yeah. So that's how it helps, that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's the same thing, like I said, about with the Wim Hof. When you're in the retention, and then you hold it, and then you think, your body's saying, breathe, 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 and you don't. And then it quietens, and you're just like, I'm fine. And it's really good like that.
Well, I think that's about controlling the panic, controlling the fear. That's why they think it's very good for your immune system. Because the immune system is your body reacting to something, and you can control, especially with the cold showers, of how horrible, isn't it? But you get used to it, and you get used to controlling a fear and horrible situation.
Exactly. And that's why that's really good for your mental again, because you're in that that uncomfortable place. But like you said though, which is a big thing with the memories though. That's because that's a really good thing, because they were saying about there's a lot of psychologists were saying now when we're watching, we're saying the problem is what we do is we mask your brain masks that trauma rather than you dealing with it. And then when they take the ayahuasca and the stuff like that, and then it comes back, then you have to deal with it. And you can only ever heal by dealing with it. Because they were saying how ayahuasca was so good with ayahuasca so good with addictions. That's right, yeah, and with heroin addicts, and the success rate of getting people like we were addicted to heroin and stuff like that is fantastic. It's absolutely amazing how it gets them out. And a lot of it says, what did the guy say? He said, not everybody who takes, what did he say? Not everybody who has trauma takes heroin, but everybody who takes heroin has had trauma. And that's the thing. And then once they've done this, then they start to deal with the trauma. They don't need the heroin anymore, which is really.
John Elworth, what did you take?
Peyote. I spewed
peyote.
Yeah.
Do you know that, Erin?
Do you know that, Erin?
I know about yeah, and I want to just I know about peyote. Yeah, so it's peyote. Some people call it peyote acid. Again, you're gonna have to like Google what the official thing is. It comes from I believe the root of a tree plant similar, but it comes from Mexico, whereas ayahuasca comes from Central America. Again, someone can fact check on this. Fact check me. I just know that I went on my peyote journals with my the winning team rap team. my co-creators. I've got, for those people who like music out there, you can check out my song "Let's Get Cosmic" by E.E. Watts. So we did it in that safe sacred portal together, and it was just like a creative avalanche of just ideas. And we have voice recordings of the nights where we were, that are personal, but we might release some of it, because there's just moments where I was just start singing this song that I didn't even know, and it was perfect time. Everything was just so creative and so flowing. All of these ideas, on peyote, I've channeled full books and plans for TV shows. So that's the thing about psychedelics. Once you get through the healing and the trauma, then it's really a tool for creation. It's super creative. And because the one thing that I haven't said all the time is that psychedelics, they break down the barriers of time and space. Give you access to the multiverse, the expansive universe. And the best psychedelic for doing that, because you were asking earlier what sort of what sort of transport do I use to get to the cosmos, get to the ship? And that would be a medicine formerly known as ketamine, now officially rebranded as Stardust.
Right. Oh, is it?
Well,
right. Well, it's quite big for microdosing now, isn't it, ketamine?
Yes, and so we're gonna from this point forward, we're gonna refer to them as Stardust, because here's the deal. It came from. So I come from well. I think we're gonna have. You know what? I actually happen to have one of my multi-dimensional sisters here in the other room, and she is. She's what you would call the queen of Stardust.
Bring her on. Bring her on, Erin.
I'm gonna. I just talk amongst yourself for a little while.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Talk amongst yourself. Have fun.
No worries, Erin. Yeah, see, it's really, it is, and it's certainly opened my eyes a lot as looking into this about how much society can gain out of this. And I really do think, and I was,
Yeah.
you know, the problem is the assholes are going to spoil it, aren't they? Do you know the ones that go in just for the ticking off the bucket list and all that kind of shit? You know what I mean? Because with that,
Possibly, but I don't think that much.
no, possibly, but with it comes the dodgy shaman as well.
It's
Do you know what I
definitely
mean?
fashionable, and
Yeah,
there's well-known stories of the dodgy shamans, and
yeah, that's what I mean.
overall, I don't think that's much of a problem, especially nowadays because people are so aware of it. Thankfully, again, some of the good things about the internet, everybody's really aware of the dodgy shamans, and anybody, because it costs a lot of money to do this kind of stuff. You know, thousands to do the full ordeal of going to Peru and getting the tried and tested, blah blah blah. Not cheap shit.
No, not at all. That's it, not at all. But I mean, what I mean is, they'll start doing the cheap option, won't they? Where people,
Well,
which
most people will have to do the cheap option, but you've got more option of finding the right cheap option nowadays.
I suppose so, because the ceremony is really important.
Sure.
The ceremony is very important.
Totally.
You can't just go.
You need that people around you, them trusting people to understand what you're going to go through, and basically get ready for a bad trip, which is quite possible, and most likely going to be part of it. They're not doing it for a good experience. Put it this way, it's not. Nobody goes in there. I think really people go in there for a good experience, but an experience.
I think they go in there because I saw it as when a lot of people when they take it, when they go for the ceremony and that, it opens the door. It opens that door onto what they can be. Do you know what I mean? Suddenly they'll think like, whoa, this is different. This is like who was the guy, the bodybuilder? You see the bodybuilder guy who was on Joe Rogan, the South African guy a while ago, and he's done it. Yeah, he was an oldish guy, and he was a massive. It was, he's a huge bloke, and the drive that it takes for him to get there. You know what I mean? He needed massive drive to get there, and he took it, and it was like, whoa, I suddenly started seeing other people's point of view. You know what I mean? He empathised with everybody after he'd taken it. His ego had gone. His ego.
I think it's very good for it. That seems to be a quite big key thing. You're more acceptable to the other side of a story.
Yeah,
it's not all about you. There's a reason why it's not tits up. There's you and somebody else normally, and there's always two sides of a story.
Exactly true. That exactly. Most people aren't being assholes. They're just.
No, I don't think it was Dorian Yates. No, I think you're getting mixed up. I think it is Dorian Yates because he's talked about it. He's from Birmingham.
Yeah, no, he lived in Birmingham. He lived in Birmingham.
No, he's from Birmingham. He's lived in South Africa. Trust me.
Well, right. Yeah. No, he said.
No,
he said when he. I'm not getting into the details. Right? Yeah, he's him anyway. He's him. Yeah. But he was saying how. Like say how massive his ego was to get to where he wanted to be. His drive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he said how everybody was always scared of him just by his sight and all this lot. And then he totally got it after he'd done this. And it affects him in a bizarre, in an amazing way. But the thing, like I was saying, is when you take, when people are taking this, it opens that door for them. But then when I was looking into the meditation side and how that works, they say, but the thing with when you're doing that with the drugs is fine, but that wears off, and then you kind of drift back to where you were.
Yeah.
With the meditation.
It's more controllable and it's not as full on as well,
and sustainable.
Achieving a similar.
Yeah, you're getting that thing because it's the Tibetan monks that did it.
Ray's in the chat. If you want to jump on, I think Ray's quite good at this kind of thing. But until then, we are meeting. Who we're meeting here? Who's Erin's friend?
Hello. My name is Royal Ruby Rose Red Aquamarine Star Captain Dove. I come from the ninth dimension.
Ninth.
Nine. I believe today it's today the 9th?
It is.
3-9.
Yeah.
It is the 9th. Yeah, yeah.
And today is my Earth birthday because I just landed here. Thanks to the help of my
Happy
multi-dimensional.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
N, I think his name was.
I brought my little pet here with me. Well, like my cosmic secretary, Ruby.
Oh dear, that looks like the JFK.
Oh, you guys are funny here. Eh?
No, people, we can't smell it.
So yeah, I've been living up with Aaron or E.E. Watts up at the Rosebud property up on Mother Mountain, which is a little bit north, like 3 hours north of the San Francisco realm. And we've been holding a whole lot of stardust ceremonies. And the real cool thing, which is a new psychedelic medicine that you probably never heard of before. So actually, I come from the star Sirius. And yes, I'm serious. But serious with an I. Even though we've got 2 eyes still. But then we've at least got 1 pair of glasses because you got to see everything. So yeah, I come from so Sirius with an I. It's the brightest star in the North Sky, if you've heard of it. And we love horses. We're like kind of the horse realm. So if you ever resonate with like liking horses, there's a few other like I can drop a link in the comments after about what makes, or if you Google it, Sirius, like what defines a Sirius star.
We don't Google things here, Aaron. We're quite against it.
Oh, we DuckDuckGo them?
No, we don't Google anything.
We have a DuckDuckGo Goo.
The rest of the chat.
Oh, sorry, I got the connect. Yes, yeah, you're right.
Chat's mental for Google. Chat's on Google all the time. We're trying to get chat out of Google, especially Jimmy on the other channel. He's a nightmare for it, but we're trying to get him out of it.
We can work on that. I'm a member.
All right, it's not a problem.
Show club.
We tolerate the intolerable.
Let's just presume we won't Google it. Go on, carry on. Carry on.
DuckDuckGo it. I forgot what we were DuckDuckGoing. I don't have any really memory here in 9, so it's like I'm just like in the flow, blah blah blah. So anyway, channel moving forward. Yes. So I was up in the Rosebud realms with E.E. Watts, and we're kind of in creative cosmic shaman healing retreats. Oh yes, Sirius. So Sirius, we sent the medicine Stardust here to planet Earth to help with like depression. So it's really good at treating depression, as well as anxiety and healing trauma. So yeah, Stardust, obviously it comes from the cosmos, Sirius, eh? And so we also have sent some other special medicine that is all 100% legal by like whatever these earth terms are, like none of that, funny stuff. But laugh. We call them the laugh ticket. And they are these little magical pills that like, I feel like we should like, my cosmic shaman brother just like gifted me some, but if you buy them, I bought them, they're like $22, he said, or he was charging $20. I'm like, this should be way more expensive. They're the coolest.
For what? These tablet things or whatever
it's called Laugh. They're called Laugh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Erin's friend, I forgot what your name is.
Star Captain Dove.
Pardon, Star Captain Doves. Could you welcome to the stream, Mr. Ray?
Hello, Ray.
Mr. Ray.
Hi guys, how we doing? Just a
How
second.
you doing, Ray? Long time no see.
Rooms. I know, I'm just going to change rooms, guys. Just a sec.
No worries. No
Right.
worries. Cool Tools says the Steve was show here. Cool Tools, how you doing, pal? I've been a few dimensions lately. Not sure about the DMT. It's released in the brain as you die, isn't it? When you're born and when you die. Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's in there for a reason, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
you know, I think when it comes to the ultimate, it's going tits up. These are these points where it's a way of helping dealing with, again, some form of deep
Trauma.
stress.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
probably
yeah.
the most deepest stress you'll get is possibly death, knowing you're going into or dying.
And once again, it's going
Possibly
to the
not. Most
light.
likely, you're full of fucking morphine,
Yeah.
to be honest. But you are opening this thing we call the third eye.
What they say about going to the light, don't they? Again, it's the light thing
Yeah.
again, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know
it's
what I
that.
mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's that light thing again. So that's kind of.
It is very interesting how most likely, even like being there myself, it's all in the brain. The brain is absolutely,
it's all the brain.
no matter what, the brain is an incredible thing that we have. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. There's no two ways about it. It's the brain. Everything's in there. Everything is in there. It's just tapping into it. That's the thing, isn't it? Well, how are you, Ray?
I'm very well, thank you. Woz, how are you?
Good, my friend. Good.
Are you okay, Steve?
Yeah, superb, mate. I'll go straight up with it, Ray. How much do you think is all just physical, brain, something weird as fuck what the brain does, or is it another level shit?
I think it gets very complex, to be honest with you, Steve. I don't know.
Well, that's correct.
I don't know if you can say it's the brain, the mind. The mind's not your brain.
Is it not?
No.
Correct. Yeah, the mind is not your brain. The brain is the physical keeper. Your mind is the compilation of your thoughts and your like astral. Your mind can exist like into your astral body outside of your body. At least,
but I think we're talking about the same thing or the same problem. Not problem, but the same. Whatever the word is, you know.
I think to keep it, yeah, it's difficult to get. It gets heavy. That what you're saying, guys, is this. I think, and this is what I certainly believe in. Your mind is everything. It's incredibly powerful.
Absolutely. Yeah,
it determines everything you do, don't do, think. It's everything. It's everything.
Well, that's what I was saying.
It governs everything about you. Your mind governs everything.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying about the default mode network. That's the thing. The default mode network is the thing. Is the ego. That controls everything. That's what they found, and it's only in the last 20 years, something like that. And they found this thing that sorts everything out. This is your ego. It sorts out all your memories. It sorts out absolutely everything, and that is key. And then when we take these, sorry, go on, Ray, go on.
No, go on, sorry.
So when we take these, these psychedelics and stuff, that turns it down a bit and allows everything to run riot, pretty much. You know what I mean? And it gives you different ways. Then that because this is in control, that organises everything. Once that's gone, new pathways link, new pathways start to form, and that's when you get these different, like ideas almost.
It's absolutely incredible, isn't it? Whatever's going on, it's incredible.
Oh yeah,
it is incredible. But I think your mind, we'll call it your mind, just for. Yeah. I think your mind is like a corrupted soul. It's like you're conditioned, aren't you? Everybody's conditioned. It's like a computer. It's like a computer. Your brain is like a computer. And it's been conditioned because you've had loads of information inputted into your mind by lots of different people. And then if you're not careful, you become your mind. Well, you are your mind. You become your mind, but you're not your mind. Does that make sense? You become your mind, but you aren't your mind.
Yeah, but no, I think...
Does that make sense? No.
We are our mind.
Sorry?
Aaron?
You are your mind. You are your mind, but you can change your mind.
Yes.
You should be in control of your mind. not your mind in control of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
And that's
I get what you're saying, Ray.
And that's where,
Are you with me?
that's where the meditation. That's where the meditation is absolutely perfect.
Well, it's a matter that the fact is, especially when you were younger, a huge amount of information. Yes. And so your mind, you then become your mind. You become a product of your mind. When actually you're not your mind, but you become a product of it.
So
then you have to work
in control, but when you look, you think, really, was we in control then? No.
Well, I read, there's a thing I heard today, and it blew my mind. It was Sam Harris, who's amazing. And he was saying about when you're angry, when you get angry. And he said, when you're angry, you're only angry for a tiny little couple of seconds or something like that. The thing that keeps you angry is you keep thinking on it. And you keep going back over that situation. And then you keep that anger going. He says the anger...
I'll be honest with you, Woz. It's what I used to do for a living. I was a thoughts and beliefs coach for about 12 years.
All right.
That's what I did. That's what I did for a living,
But I thought that was fascinating. Then I thought, that is so right.
Yeah.
Do you know when you get angry with something like that, and you get angry, what keeps it going is your mind. Because you keep reliving that moment and then expanding on that moment and getting angrier and angrier.
And how you get over an anger, how you move on from an anger.
Yeah.
You know what sells, don't we? You know, you've been angry for a wrong reason, for example. We have our own way of getting away from the anger. Go, all right, let me just bloody do this or do that, or the tricks. And what you're doing is you're stopping that circle of the brain.
You're distracting.
Yeah, you're distracting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but the thing is, it's recognizing that straight away, isn't it? And to live in that moment, to put yourself to train yourself to be right in the moment rather than in the future or the past. Do you know what I mean? To train your mind, when something goes wrong like that, right, I'm in the moment. So I'm not in the past, I'm not in the future, I'm here right now, and it dissipates. Because there's nothing to fuel it, you know what I mean?
That's right. And that's what I put in the comments earlier was, because basically, I don't know if Steve mentioned it or not, but it's absolutely true. I think you said when you were at the gym, Steve, you said when you were at the gym, you're focused on what you're doing. So when people say sport is a great de-stressor, the reason that is because you're normally concentrating on what you're doing. You know, like for me, I used to do a lot of mountain biking. So when I was mountain biking, I had to concentrate what I was doing, because if I didn't, I'd get injured, I'd fall off. So what that does...
I thought you said mouth inviting then. I thought, what's this? Well, this sounds really interesting. Mouth inviting.
You mountain biking.
Sorry, it's my...
Don't apologise for him. I heard mountain biking. Sorry.
Right. Well, what you do, it takes you into the moment because you're concentrating.
Yeah.
So when you're in the moment, you're in the present time, was like you said, and not in your mind, not in la la land. Yeah. Because as soon as you go into your mind, that's when you start thinking about the past or the future.
Yes.
And all the things in your mind. You know. So when you meditate or when you do a sport, it brings you back into the present moment.
Yes.
You're just in that moment, so you're not thinking of anything else.
And also why, and I've always known why I did it, but I don't fully get it, was my escapism is like going to Thailand, going holiday, it's getting away from my trauma that happened. And it's a form of escapism. I'm here, blah blah blah. All that is not happened. That's a different world. I'm in happy world here. I'm not going back to, and it's the same. It's that thought.
That's why people take heroin. It's exactly right. It's exactly the same reason why people take heroin. You know, or whatever, alcohol or whatever. You know.
We're all masking things in different ways.
Yeah. When you go into your mind, a lot of the stuff then, they're just mental images. It's not real.
Yeah.
It might have been real at one time, but it's not real anymore. They're just mental projections. And what you're doing is looking at them.
That's right.
So when you come back into the present moment, you're not looking at that. You're just getting on with what you're doing. And that's why sport's such a good thing, because you're concentrating all the time.
Yeah.
And that's why it's good for your stress levels.
Or being creative, like being an artist or
Yes,
something like
exactly,
that.
exactly.
Because
What?
you're
Yeah,
focused. Yeah, because you're focusing
exactly.
on that. Yeah.
It's same thing. Yeah, it's exactly the same thing.
Because they were saying about with the when they were saying with the Tibetan monks, they were talking about.
Cheers, Aaron.
Cheers, Aaron. Chink chink, my dear. Where they were talking. They were talking about with the when I did the default mode network, which is your ego, and they were saying that's the thing that gets wounded. That's the pain. That's where the pain and the suffering comes from. Is from your ego. It's totally from your ego, from remembering all that, from looking back into the past or looking into the future about what could happen and what has
when
happened.
people say their ego, when people say your ego, they don't mean you're egotistical. It doesn't mean that.
No, it's what you
are.
It
just means your mind.
Yeah, it's your mind.
It's
what you
your
are.
mind.
Yeah,
your mind.
It's what you are. Well, your ego is your ego is your past and your future. That's what your ego is, isn't it? It's your past and your future.
Yeah.
It's what you were and it's what you want to be, isn't it?
Correct.
Your ego, isn't it?
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, they're so connected with the mind, they start believing that they are the mind, but they aren't.
Yeah.
Because you can change your mind. You can change it. You can work on your mind and change it.
Exactly.
So people say, yeah, but that's me. That's who I am. But it's not. That's not true.
No. But we focus too much. We focus too much, I think. Oh, sorry, Rick.
Yeah, you're thinking too much in your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, you shouldn't sort of identify with your mind so much.
Well, look at the biggest problem that we have as people is we're so worried about what's going to happen, so worried about what we did in the past.
Correct.
You know what I mean? We have all the regrets. Oh, I can't believe I did that. Because that's when you so many times. I mean, I'm not everyone. I'm sure people. I do remember a lot, and I always laugh on my own a lot because I'm quite good at remembering a lot of. I'm like everybody else. I still think that letting the shower, like, oh, for God, I can't believe I did that. But I also have very happy memories in the past as well. Many a time I'll think about and I'll burst out, especially when I'm on whacker at work, and I'll burst out laughing, looking back at the good things. You know what I mean? But we are always in the future.
Right, no, I think one of my best traits is I'm really good at letting the bad shit go and go, oh, it is what it fucking is. My brain seems to forget it really well. And I really remember the good times really well.
Yeah.
I don't know why or how, but I'm so grateful I don't hold on to bad shit.
Yeah,
I'm more like, oh, hell, I remember that time I got my bollocks out in bloody...
Yeah.
You know how my memory works. And
Yeah. But
this is how when people get, like my brother used to be bad for it, get pissed up, and they'll be all, and the next minute the memory starts going back to the bad shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's alcohol, how alcohol can be bad for you. But I think other drugs, I don't know if it works the same, but alcohol's definitely guilty of bringing bad shit up. When people have had an argument, next to me, remember 3 years ago when you ignored me at bus stop? Like, what are you worried about?
That's exactly true. That's exactly true. Because but that's the trick, and that's the key with the meditation is the living in the now, not in the past, not worrying about what's going to happen, not regretting what happened in the past, but living in the moment, which I think is I think it's the healthiest way forward. And once your mind's healthy, you're healthy. There's no two ways about that.
Well, Aaron, may I ask what you're doing?
What are you doing?
This is Star Captain Dove here. I'm doing my ninth dimensional skincare routine. So I've got some the Kylie skin.
What the hell's
by Kylie Jenner? She's definitely it's funny because you hear about people talk about disclosure, and they're like, we're gonna announce that the aliens are coming. I'm like, the aliens are already here, motherfuckers. Come on. You see, these people are definitely not from here. But yeah, she's definitely, I've never met her in this reality, but she does kind of swing in some circles. And so, I mean, she's definitely not from here. So, but yeah, we got some face moisturizer, and then we got some vitamin C serum. And then I'm about to put on my, this is just from the Walgreens. It's like $19, like just the 100% organic botanics with rosehip. If anyone wants to reach out to me for a sponsorship, you can reach me at starcaptaindove@gmail.com.
Mainly blokes here, Erin, so there's not much chance of that.
How many girls have you got in the calls here?
Well, there's Nicole and Rascal, I think.
You two are amazing. Like, you're not globally famous yet, but like you're the like, dude, you're like the next level of Joe Rogan, because there's two of you and you're from England, and like there's enough people who've got like he's about to get ousted anyway, but like you two, you guys are hit. Like, you're hilarious.
I don't think that's ever going to happen. No, but it's a fascinating thing though. Is the mind, and it's something that's just everything. I think everything's there. Everything's there, because some people get the ideas that you can see other dimensions. Although there was a thing brought up about how snakes, like how snakes can see heat and stuff like that. How they can sense heat. They can see an infrared, don't they? And stuff like that. So maybe there's
different senses,
different senses, and stuff like that. Obviously, I don't think we need the eyes and receptors for all that, but there's a lot more possible that we can do, because
I'm way more open than I've ever been, I think, and I'm quite enjoying being more open as well. I've kind of gone through the growing up believing in God in a certain way, and then believing, of course there's no God. And then I looked at the online thing. I looked at all the debates. Of course there's no God. There's no religions. But then I'm going through a different stage of there could be something else, and that something else can't be proven, and it can't be proven in a debate situation because it's almost out of worldly. And this is my point again. Unless you've really been to a place of a DMT type scenario, it's very
metaphysical.
The argument of it.
Yeah. I agree.
I agree as well, and that's the one thing. If for anyone out there tracking these DMT use or psychedelic path, we haven't talked about when I've done DMT.
All right, cool, yeah. What was your experience on that?
I do find it funny that I'm on episode 69 as one of the sexually liberated.
Well, it's gone up to 90. Apparently, 69's gone up to 96 now due to inflation.
Sounds good. Oh my god. So DMT, the first time that I did DMT was at an event that we call this is an E.E. Watt story, so I think I got a costume change.
Okay, go for it. I thought you was doing it. Okay.
Yeah, but it is. But like I said, if your mind's not well, you're not well, and the way that your mind controls the body, and controls the body. So if it works that way, it can work the other way as well. You can heal yourself as well.
Well, Morrison didn't know, did he? As he used to say, does the mind rule the body, or does the vice versa? I don't know. It's one of his lyrics.
I don't listen to Morrissey because I'm hard. Yeah. So what did you use?
Yeah. What have you experimented with, as in the psychedelic?
If I'm being honest with you, Steve, nothing at all. I'm a bit boring on that front. Well, I'm boring full stop.
Would you not be interested to experience it?
Sorry.
Would you not be interested to experience?
Yes, I would. I was speaking. Yeah, I was speaking about it the other week. I mean, it's been what you're speaking about now was sort of a natural progression for me because I'd worked with the mind for a long time, but not on a spiritual level. Because what you're talking about, see, you just mentioned God. Now, I'm not religious at all. I'm not a religious person at all. I don't believe in religion as such, mainstream religion, but I do believe in a higher consciousness.
Yeah.
I believe in a higher consciousness. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But I would, in some ways, Steve, what you've been speaking about, DMT and that, I would like to experience that because I'm pretty sure that it would open up your mind a lot because we're so conditioned. We are so conditioned. And to think you need to see outside of that conditioning, you need help. You need help, I believe, because you've been conditioned for that long. And it's so hard to open up your mind so much. That's why there's a few.
Oh, no, it's frozen. Oh, Ray, you're frozen, pal.
Oh,
there you go.
Oh, back on. Sorry, I lost you then, guys. Sorry.
It's all right. You just froze then, Ray. Go on, Ray. You were saying, sorry. About being
I
conditioned.
was saying that I think to open up your mind to that level, you need some form of psychedelic because you're too conditioned. You can't open your mind without that help. I don't believe. I think some people can to a certain degree. These people, what do you call them? Who connect with a, like
Shaman.
Sorry.
Shaman.
Well, there's them, but even like mediums and that, their mind, I believe, some people can connect with another dimension. I believe they are doing, some of them. But I think that's a real gift.
See, there's a thing with that I heard today, which is quite, because I don't believe personally in any kind of stuff like that. But
okay,
I heard a thing today that made me thought, all right, it's like tuning a radio.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then,
what
don't
you believe in?
Being in touch with mediums who can touch in the dead and spirits and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's who I am. So do you like? I mean, you don't have to believe in me, but like that's like
I believe in you, Aaron.
Yeah, believe or not believe, but
no, I'm not saying I'm right, Aaron. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm right at all.
No, yeah, and it's fine. You are speaking to a spiritual medium who channels everything from other sides. So
no, but like I said, though, I heard today, which made me think, which makes me think, is like I say, it was described as tuning in a radio, and then when sometimes you can just get one channel, and then you can tune over, and then you can get another channel, and it's all on frequencies, isn't it? You know what I mean? And I thought that's a quite interesting way of looking at it like that. You know what I mean? So.
Well, that's why they're called. That's why we're called channels. So you got it. Like, it is just about. It's about the frequency that you tune into, and the frequency that you're able to receive. Because kind of like and that sound that you described. Because I never touched on your breath work. Speaking of your breath work, which is amazing, and yes, breath work and meditation can get you to the same place of psychedelics. And that's kind of more the path I'm going, because I've done the psychedelics, some of them don't even work anymore. Like there's been times where I've taken, shout out to Anifesting in the audience, my sea star Anifesting, amazing goddess, with me and we do the goddess economy work, building women's liberation movement. So a shout out to that.
Welcome aboard, Anna.
So can we go back to your DMT experience, Aaron?
Yes, because that's what E.E. Watts is back here to talk about, the DMT experience. So the first time I did it was at quite the iconic event we called it Burning Fucking Cella. So it was basically
So it's not Burning Man.
So it was the weekend of the Burning Man, but it was 2020. So there was like, you know, everything kind of shut down and we had all been inside. It was the first place that I went outside of San Francisco, and I'm, you know, normally traveling like a million places all the time. And so yeah, it was like this fucking amazing fucking mansion in LA that like my friend invited me to like the night before. He's like, hey, do you have plans? It was over Labor Day. I was like, no. He's like, you want to come to LA? I was like, sure. I like roll up and there's like, it's like a huge mansion. There's like all this stuff there. They had like a naked sushi person the night before. I won't give away too much because it's a pretty fucking
a naked sushi person.
But then that evening, the evening I arrived, it was actually the first Heart Tribes event that I went to. That Heart Tribes with a Z at the end, Heart Tribes with a Z. And when I arrived, then it was like I had been like isolated in my apartment in San Francisco, and I had been doing mushrooms and stuff, but I like was like, I want to go to a medicine ceremony. I want to do all this. At the time, I had like pretty much zero earth dollars because I don't really operate in earth dollars anymore. And I literally just like had manifested. Then they were like, we're doing a medicine ceremony this evening. And I was like, what? That's wild. And it was basically like, it was a mushroom ceremony, but then we also had, all my brothers are like cosmic shamans. So then we also had some LSD. And so basically this was the first night that I would call that I ascended. So if you've heard of the term like ascended masters or ascended ancestors, and to ascend is to return back to like source, pure light, love. And that's when you're in that place that I was talking about earlier, that place where everything's magical and there's no time and space and you're literally floating around, and I'm like spinning at the like speed of light and things are just appearing. I was like, I want a joint. And then I like look down and there's a joint in my hand and I'm like, whoa, that was so cool. So that evening began with me doing LSD, acid, some of the like the red jelly tabs. And that was like, wow. So then we're like, I'm on this acid trip, and then I start throwing in stardust. And so stardust is the best thing to break down time, space, and dimensions. So then when you're doing the stardust and the acid, and we were again in ceremony in this very private place, things were getting like wild. But then basically everyone's like, they had a DMT pen and they're like, do you want some? And I'm like, obviously, Jesus, I'm always yes.
You're doing a massive cocktail here, aren't you? Jesus.
Jesus.
You're just missing evil.
It's the alchemical, it's the alchemy of
right, yeah.
It's getting to the perfect.
Were you drinking as well? I know you was drinking as well. I don't believe he asked the question.
Oh, of course, champagne. But I would like to say that this is actually when I rid myself, because back in the Cambodia days, I had a problem with alcohol, and it was like, you know, too much at some point. You know about how that goes, yeah. But like I was pretty much sober off of alcohol for most of 2020, and I had done, when I arrived to this burning fucking Shella event, I just done 28 days no alcohol, and I was actually thinking that I was like done with alcohol at all together. But then they literally, like, after the medicine ceremonies, they bring out like bottles of champagne with fireworks like you're at a big club. And we did this like burn ceremony. So we did a burn ceremony where we basically wrote down all of our fears.
This after so you do the DMT? Sorry, I interrupted you then, Erin. You just getting to the good bit, the DMT.
No, we haven't got there yet. You brought alcohol in the mix. Because the whole night. Oh yeah. So basically we're doing this ceremony where then they like bring out champagne, and I'm like, I can't say no to that. So yeah. And when I drink alcohol, I only drink red wine, champagne, mezcal, or tequila. Occasionally a little bit of whiskey and rum, but because those are all high vibrational alcohol when used in like the right settings. Actually, yeah, whiskey and vodka are really like, because there's been so much like, if you think of like this stuff, but anyway, so yeah, I was on the alcohol too. I was smoking weed, obviously, sure, because that's all the time baseline. But then like, hey, we've got like a DMT pen. Do you want to do it? And I was like, obviously, yes. So I was with my best friend Isis, and we were like lying on. It was this beautiful house with this pool and this like in the valley of Los Angeles, like there were mountains and so we were like sitting on the little whatever, like the lawn chair or the pool chairs, like that were like really cool, like pool under the stars. It was pretty much like we were in the stars. And then I did DMT for the first time, and because you take like it's in a cartridge of a pen, and suck it in.
What it is.
Well, it comes in different forms.
Do you not light it?
What?
Do you not light it? And
that's what yes, you can do it that way. I've never, so that would be like when it's crystal. Oh, that makes sense. Because it can come in crystal form, so you can smoke it as you would do other crystal-y things. I've only for DMT, I've only done the pen, the cartridge. So it's like a liquid in a cartridge, kind of like a, weed THC. It looks exactly like that. And so I did it, and then basically for me, what happened was like, immediately it was like everything around me was kind of like rainbow hieroglyphics. Like it was like I was accessing like the whole interdimensional records. Yeah, like kind of like the Akashic records, if you've heard of that. The records of like everything that happened. So everything was kind of like rainbow shooting stars and shooting colors. And I was like hugging my best friend Isis. And then all of a sudden it was like everything just like went like it was like all of the rainbow hieroglyphics. It was like peace, 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 peace. And like it was like every problem or anything that you like ever imagine in the world like just ceased to exist. And what I saw was just it was just like calm. And that was like the first time probably in my life where I've been like fully, and there's just like this deep sense of knowing. Like one of the things that one of my mantras is like, we are complete, we are born complete, we are born whole, like everything is completely fine. Like there are things that are happening on this earth plane, and there's sometimes they're annoying, but like it's all
that sense of knowing that can't be described. When you hit that, I understand the universe, blah blah blah, how it started, and all that moment, it all makes perfect sense. But then you come out of it, and it's like,
I can't remember a fucking thing.
Hell, doesn't make any sense. It really made sense at the time.
Yeah, and you're like, how do I get back? And that's a very like Ram Dass, if you've ever studied the reading or teachings of Ram Dass, who was like a spiritual teacher in like the 60s and 70s from America, but he was like always searching to get high, because you want to go back to this place. And now where collective consciousness is, because enough of us have been to that place, because enough of us know that, and because we're a reflection, like I believe that it is all in our mind, but our mind is the collective mind, like the collective, all that is the collective consciousness. And so now that enough of us have been to this place, enough of us like know when's the next one of these parties, hit me up on Instagram at EEWattsOFC. Actually, April 30th.
John lives in LA, Erin. John lives in LA.
Nice.
You were just getting to the most profound bit, then you got distracted by John's comment.
John, why did you distract us? Wait, what was the most profound bit?
About the sea of consciousness, and now that
Yes. So now that the sea of consciousness is to this place where we realize that we can control it. Like all it is right now is about getting and holding these ceremonies with people. So like if you're watching this and you like are understanding this, like get your people together, send me a message at Star Captain Dove on Instagram. I'm inspired by this. I'm gonna put together like how to have a conscious ceremony, like instruction packet. And so because when three or more are gathered together, the energy of us, because to me my belief is that like we're all God, like all together. This is like everything is God, everything is the highest most being expressing itself. And but when three or more spirits are together, that's when we have real power. So if we stop kind of like, because most of the people who are really like light beings, or they resonate as being light warriors, they've been troubled and they want to escape. So now they're still like just partying, like, oh yeah, we're gonna get drunk, haha. But like, what if we actually come together and say, hey, now is the time to come together, to be in conversation like this, and to make a concerted effort to be in ceremony together. So like get your group of friends together, go rent an Airbnb. Like,
well, even this, nobody's on drugs here, whatever, other than a slight glass of wine. But this definitely helps. Just us talking, talking positive ways about, well, searching for the truth of whatever the truth is. But we're all kind of trying to find this truth, aren't we? And it does feel good to feel like you're kind of getting there.
Yeah, I think that was really profound. And that was really, because I'd always liked that idea of the sea of consciousness, and that we're all droplets from the sea of consciousness. And the idea that, like you said, that there's more and more of us going up there and actually seeing it together. Erin, put your link up as well in the private chat, and I'll put it up in the chat if anybody wants to. Do you know for the what you were on about, for all getting together and that? Put that in the private chat. Yeah, and where's she gone?
It's okay, but we'll sort it out. We'll put it in the description somehow below.
But I've always really liked that. I've always really liked that idea of we're all droplets of a sea of consciousness. Do you know what I mean? And we're all experience. Because I also read listened to something today saying about all the memories. Do you know if we are this consciousness and we're all droplets of this sea of consciousness, all the memories of our past, what we've done, are there, but we struggle to access them, like, and everything. And then they're on about with all. Do you know how people always see when they go on these visions? And a lot of time, although a lot of it is cultural as well, they are very to where you live and stuff like that, and what your visions are.
Well, totally. This is the thing I said before about when I had the trip on the. When I doesn't matter what I was on, but when I went to the trip world, when I was only a child, I literally went into a death. I tasted eternity, but when I faced the light and I was moving on to the next world, everything about that was all I knew as a child. The pearly gates, the same whatever it was. All the scenarios was pure. Them fictorial stories, that we know fictorial stories. So as much as that was absolutely real, the whole scenario was based on personal.
Yeah.
That's where you think, well, it can't be true then, can it?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. What do you think, Ray?
Yeah, I'm not going. It's sort of, I wouldn't say it's a new area for me, because that would be untrue. But I'm becoming more and more to believe in consciousness levels. So, like this period we're going through now, I believe now people's levels of consciousness are lifting as we go through this time. That's what I believe. And I think it's a collective. You can lift your own consciousness level, but I think, as I was speaking earlier, I think if it's like an aggregate of everybody's consciousness level, which is lifting. So I think there are different levels of consciousness, and I think when your body dies, you then connect with the consciousness level of when you died. You will connect with that level. So if you're at a higher level of consciousness or at a lower one. So I don't think you ever die. I don't think we die. I don't believe you, the person, dies. I think you connect to different levels of consciousness. So yeah, that's what I believe. There's your body and your soul. And that soul is consciousness. So
let's hope so anyway.
well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know, Steve. I don't know stuff
You
like
can only
that.
wish for the best, though, can't you?
Well, I just think in a lot of ways it makes a lot of sense to me, and it answers a lot of questions for me. Because don't forget, like I said, we are sort of programmed, aren't we? We are programmed since birth to think of this world.
You bang on with things like this. We're totally programmed to think.
Well, the thing, but we're programmed you're programmed if you don't want to be programmed, turn the fucking news off. That's one of the best things ever. There's no two ways about that. But one thing I had, and now I thought about this with the last show, because we did the last show right on how the population is going to decline in 2100. There's less and less kids being born.
Yeah.
So the thing I was thinking about this. Now I thought about this back then. So if we're all these droplets of consciousness, what happens when there's less people in 2100?
What do you mean?
Well, there's less people to experience this consciousness.
Yeah, but you still.
Does it make a difference?
I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. Obviously.
I believe no, Steve. I believe that people's levels of consciousness, we're all at different levels. I think we are. But I think overall, people's levels of consciousness are now lifting. That's what I believe.
I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, what I don't even didn't quite. I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, say each person is a droplet from the sea of consciousness, yeah? Right? That's how I envision it, type thing.
Yeah.
But the population was expanding all the time, wasn't it? So there was getting more and more. So I wondered, how does it work? How would it work with the reincarnation type thing?
Oh, with the reincarnation, but I know what you're saying. There's a limited, say, 5 have to go in and die. 5, it has to be that same number.
You
where do these numbers come from, and where
does the rest go?
The math doesn't add up, basically.
Where does the rest go? Where does the rest go?
Because you all, none of you die. You were just thinking of a human. Aren't you? But we don't know what people. We could have been a frog before we came here or whatever. I don't know.
I know what you mean. That makes the nummers more. They can go whatever. Yeah.
So does that mean? So does that mean that creatures? So as more people go, there are less animals. And then when we get to 2100, where they predict that there's going to be less people, there'll be more animals. Which I suppose they will, because we'll eat less.
I think that's the argument.
Who wants to come back from being a human to a bloody...
What's your view on reincarnation, Aaron?
Yeah, so I've got some interesting numbers to throw out there, because so there's 8 billion people on planet Earth. However, a majority of them are what we call non-character. They're basically just like shells. They don't actually have human souls. They don't have any souls. They're kind of like part of this like weird simulation that we're in. Right. So that's why sometimes you're like, and you can get distracted by them because you're trying to like get them to understand these things that only resonate with people who have souls.
Yeah.
And they're just like in the way. So that's why as spiritually awakened beings, you only like teach the teachable. You only are sharing with the people like, and if you look at like Russell Brand, he's got like 5.9 million whatever subscribers. That's like awakened beings. We have about I think it's about 12 to 13 million human souls on this planet. Everyone else that's billions are just fucking like nothing. Like they're just moving around. And so it's my and so then you have 144, there's 144,000 what are called star seeds or cosmic eagles that are part of this mission from Ashtar Command to ascend Gaia, who's planet Earth, ascend Gaia to the 5th dimension, because Gaia was born in the 5th dimension. Mama Earth was pulled down to 3 so that way everyone could feed off of her and do all these, exploit her and take the oil out of her and all these things that, like, no wonder women are in so much pain, because look at how we've treated the earth. So I'm one of the 44,000. I'm one of like the captains of the 44,000. There's 12 kind of captain teams. And so I'm one of those. And then in addition to that, there are 333,000, about maybe 444,000 beings from other dimensions, whether lower or higher, that have just come in here to like help the process along. So whether they're from the 7th dimension, so like Lucifer and Jesus, like those beings, they have a lot of fractals here of them. They're here to, again, share stories, like, because like for me on my spiritual journey, like, yes, I've read about these like great beings and studied them, but like I actually am with them. Like I am the version of them now.
Oh. We've lost your connection, Erin. Head on. We lost your sound. We can see you, but we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, go on. Yeah.
Sorry, I was getting a call. We got lots of. I need to get a second device because I keep getting all these calls into the Star Captain Dove hotline, but nothing important. I can wait. But so it's my belief that we come from an oversoul. So there's some people who believe that the universe like all began with like one big bang. It was one big thing, but it's actually my understanding or my belief that we came from soul cluster. So basically this idea of source light in this big like explosion that happened, it all happened from little soul clusters. So there's little like soul seed clusters. So basically on this plane, I have found my soul being like SOUL, but also SOL, like the sun. This light. Yeah. You're like, whoa, that makes sense, right? Soul.
Yeah.
So I found my soul seeds. I found that like I began this whole reality with, and it's my belief that we keep incarnating like over and over again in these little soul groups. And so, but also then there's this whole thing of time that only exists in the 4th dimension or below. So time is the 4th dimension. And so time only exists in 4 or below. And in time, there are cycles of time, because I believe that we're God, source expressing itself, like, and we've got to do something with the time. Like, we don't want to just like be there and be light. Like, that kind of sounds boring. That's why we chose to have these human forms, to like have all of these. We came here to experience it all and all of its glory and grit in some ways. And that's why we had weird experiences. So essentially we're manifesting in these, incarnating in these soul groups. If you're one of the people who resonates as like having a soul, if you don't, like, fuck off. I don't know, just like go play with each other. Like, that's fine.
Could I ask you please?
Yeah.
So how do you see the world? Is it physical, or is it just in your mind and you are decoding it as a physical reality? Do you see it as physical, or is it an holographic world, what you decode into physical?
Great question. It is a holographic reflection. So I resonate with it being a reflection of our mind. But the interesting thing, and I've got a story, or like I've got proof and stories of this being, that this whole physicality thing that we see, like it's a total just because we've been told that this is how it is, because we've been programmed. So I'm a deprogrammer. So we've been programmed to believe that, yes, here's the wall. But this night that I was telling you about where I did the DMT, there was like, it was like a 9 or 12 foot deep pool. Like it was like a mansion. So it was like a plunge pool. It was super deep. I had cannonballed into it earlier. I definitely could not touch the bottom. I'm 5'6". It was a very deep pool. And at one point, I got into the pool. This was after the LSD, after the Stardust, after the DMT. And I was touching the ground of this pool, and my head was above water. And I was like, what the fuck? You know, because your human mind, it's been programmed to believe, like, but I was like, I believe this, you know, like, and it's still to this day. And I've got stories. I've got some, like, I can actually duplicate things. Like I've duplicated things, like those little, like, funny nicotine sticks. Like I was at this crazy during the 11/11 portal last year. It duplicated, like it duplicated, like there was 2 of them where there had once been one of them. And
what's a nicotine stick? Do you mean cigarette?
No, like the little, like, you know, they're like the ones with the lights on them. Do you have those? It might be an American thing. Do you guys, you know, like they're little, like...
Oh, like an e-cig thing.
Yeah, we've got like a million of them here, and all the flavors and stuff.
That's just stunning, though. That really is, yeah.
How?
So, how do you see the world? Do you believe in consciousness levels? Do you believe in that? Or do you not?
Well, no, I don't know, Ray. I really don't know. I must admit, until I started doing this with Steve, I was like pretty much, you know, down here. And then, like, you know, everything what it was. And I always had thoughts, and you know, but now, more and more as I've looked into stuff, and with the different topics that we've done, and speaking to people like you, Ray, and stuff like that, I'm a lot more open.
We both are. What we've done, a lot of these topics is open the minds a lot, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Aaron tonight has been fantastic. And yourself,
it's still doing it. I mean, what's going on in the world today, I can see there's a massive opening of minds. People may not see that, but I see that happening. And it's been great, like when I've been on your show before. I think it's been great because I like hearing different people's perceptions.
Exactly.
I like hearing how people see things.
We can't all agree. Agreeing doesn't help. Disagreeing and talking about it, that's where you get to the more of the truth of something.
That's right, but it's good when you can discuss, because a lot of people these days, unfortunately, it's pretty venomous in a lot of places, especially during this period. And I think that's a real shame, because I like to listen to people, but you can tell in a lot of cases there's no debate. There is absolutely zero debate, because people's minds, they're so rigid, the beliefs are so rigid that they won't look at anything else. And I think that's a shame. I think
the worst thing is when people disagree with somebody and they take it personal. That's where it falls down. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I never, admit to knowing fucking anything. You know what I mean? But I mean, like, if I don't think something's right, I'll say it's not right. You know what I mean? But I don't, and vice versa. But I never take it any personal. If somebody disagrees with me, I never take it personal or anything like that. And I like that because the thing is, though, you've got to back it up, which you two have done brilliantly tonight. With what you said, with the information that you've given, you know. And
it's very difficult, though, isn't it? Some things, just because we can't prove something, doesn't mean to say it's not true. And that does become very difficult. And I agree with you, because there's some things I don't know. I really don't know. but you spoke earlier, you said, we've all been programmed and turning off the TV and all that, which is true. However, what I'm trying to say was that programming goes much further back than that. I mean, from the ages of about 0 to 6 years old, there's a massive amount of programming.
Every country has every country has its propaganda, which each citizen is taught by that country. There's no two ways about that. When you're a citizen of whatever country and of whatever belief or religion or whatever,
correct.
That's the line you get. There's no two ways about it. That's the line you get. But I mean, I was lucky with that where I broke out of that. How old was it when I just thought bollocks? I can't remember. But I think it was about 15 or 14, maybe something like that. I just thought, this is shit. And I broke out of that then. That's when I first broke out of, I don't believe this religious bollocks. It was religion first. Religion was the first to go. Religion was the absolute first to go. About propaganda I always know because I always loved the military stuff when I was a kid. I always loved that. So I learned about
propaganda and all that.
Yeah, but I learned about both sides of the war. What the Germans were telling the German population, what we were telling our population. So I knew about that. You know what I mean? I've always been aware of that as well, regardless of what a lot of people think. But a lot of things as well is I think about things and then I'll think about it and think, well, that doesn't make sense because that like a god. And the idea of a god, but then all the bad things can happen in the world and stuff like that.
Do you know what I believe was? Do you know what I believe and all that? I believe pure religion got corrupted. I think.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't believe in this religion, today's religion. That's in my mind. I don't want to offend anybody, but it's totally corrupt.
It's almost politicized, Ray. It's politicized, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. Well, it's worse than that in my mind, if I'm being honest. But I won't go into that. It's worse than that. But I truly believe in ancient times, whenever that was, I don't know how far back you'd have to go. I'm not going to say dates, but I believe people there was good and evil. It was plain to see to them people. But we've been conditioned by all this religion and politics and everything else, really. And now we can't open our minds to see it. Whereas if you look at these ancient tribes, they can go out to the village. Even to this day. They can go out to the village, and if there's something wrong in the village, they'll pick up that frequency, and they know there's something wrong, and they'll go back.
Do you know
that's been proven?
Right, Ray.
Go on.
The funny, right now, when you said that's brought back a memory to me, which was so spooky, and it was me dad in his wagon. Right now, this I know it sounds weird, but it's so true. This, me and our John, I wish our John were here now. When my dad were driving up in that wagon coming up, we could tell. For some reason, whether my dad was in a really bad mood and we were going to get a fucking bollocking. And he was he was in a wagon and he was driving it, right? And me and John look, and I'm not kidding, this is 100% swearing everybody's life is true. We look at each other and go, fucking hell, Dad's on one. And we knew, and we hadn't even seen me dad.
That's the subtleties, though, of how your brain is so quick at realising he's slightly faster, or he's gear changing.
Possibly,
a bit more.
Possibly.
He's on one when he's not.
We both.
But what about this one though, guys? What about this one?
Yeah.
What about what like me? I'm still not not that good with animals. And save a dog. I've been with a lad who he had a scrapyard, so he were used to bloody guard dogs and all that sort of thing growling at you. And I wasn't. And I'd been to this place, and this bloody dog came at me, and it frightened the crap out of me. And that dog knew it. No, they're not looking at your face. Those dogs are not looking at your face.
No.
They sense, they get the frequency. They get the frequency from you, and they feel it. They feel
that
it.
Is so true. Dogs
isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it? Isn't it true? when that guy came in, who didn't give a shit, to be quite frank with you,
Yeah.
don't come growling at him. He go, come here, you daft man, and he just started playing with it. That
Don't
dog
you
just
get
didn't
that?
bother.
Don't you get that with people as well? When
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
when you
Yeah,
get the
yeah,
gobby
yeah.
when you get the gobby
Yeah.
fuckers and you don't bother
Yeah.
about the you don't bother about the gobby
Yeah.
fuckers, all the noisy ones. You don't give a shit about them, and then all of a sudden you'll meet someone and you'll go, "Fucking hell."
Yeah.
And they haven't said a fucking word.
Yeah, well, it's very true. It's very true because you give a frequency off. No, I never used to be into stuff like that, but like I say, like you said, was like I'll be honest with you, I've worked with minds a lot, but I was never into frequency thing. But now, in last few years, I've looked at it quite a lot, and I'm going, I really want to know more. I want to know more. I look at a lot of stuff now and listen to a lot of stuff. And that's where my head is now because I want educated in that because I've not got enough education in that. I like listening to people more like this evening. It's been good to listen because my mind is open. I'm not just saying that, but it is. My mind's open.
Mine is Steve's, yeah, definitely.
I sort of took myself back to a blank piece of paper and built back up again, in a way.
Well, that's a good thing to do sometimes, isn't it? You got to reevaluate, got to listen, because it's no good starting with a set attitude or a set way of thinking. You have to shake it all off and start again with right. Let's start from Let me try and be as neutral in my thinking as I possibly can.
Yeah, that's really hard, especially as you get older. The older you are, the longer you've been conditioned for. So that can be really difficult. But when I've worked with people in the past, when you look at the lives and the lives they've led and listen to them, I can totally understand why they are like they are, because they wouldn't be anything else. How could they be? But then they think.
Do you think that's why? Sorry, Ray, but do you think that's why older people look at younger people like they do? Because you know how generations are waking up and waking up and waking up.
Yeah.
They're just tired of life.
But I've got to be honest now. That's a good point, was. But I'd like to just say this because I think it's really important now. It's now going backwards. It worries me now. It worries me seriously what's happening to younger people now because they are being so conditioned, more so than we were, more than we were. Oh, me. I'll say me because I'm older than you
absolutely,
guys.
Absolutely.
Far more than we were.
We've got a
and it's worrying.
Machine in that.
It's brainwashing. It's full on. It is full on. If I had kids now, I'll tell you now, if I had kids now in school, I'd be getting them out. That would be me. I would be getting them out.
I agree with that. If I had a kid now, I would have them out. School.
It's frightening. It's scary, in my opinion.
Why? I understand with all the media and all that. No, wait. I understand with the media. Go on about the school.
I don't believe the school system works. Yeah. I think it's a negative way of making people grow up to thinking you have to live and be a certain way. You have to go in this system, in this grind of life, which is a fake grind of life. It's not the way us to be.
That's true, Steve, but I'd take it farther than that. It's gone beyond that now. You're right, I do agree with that as well, but it's gone beyond that now. It's being controlled. The education system now is totally controlled to suit agendas. That's what I believe. Was might not believe me, but that's what I believe.
Because only because I've got two kids, 15 and 14, who they're not like that. I mean, maybe because they were me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably because of you, Rose.
Well, yeah.
You've got little star kids, for sure.
But, I just think there's a better way to educate.
I totally agree with that. Go on, Erin.
I got a code. I got a code that I got today about education, which is that. So, because I'm a queen of words and linguistics. So, if we trace the root back to what the term education means, it involves ownership of knowledge.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
for the same reason that when I told someone that my name was Aaron and it meant peace, and they're like, "Are you a peacekeeper?" And I'm like, "I'm not a peacekeeper. Why would I want to keep the peace? I want to share the peace. Like anything good, I don't want to keep. Like I don't want to keep the love. I want to share the love. I want to share the peace. I want to share the knowledge and wisdom." So the problem is within what we call it, this concept of education, which is teaching you something that's written that could be based on agendas. Yes. Because this whole
world. I'm just going to stop it a little bit here because I think this is a really good topic in the next week, a couple of weeks. Education and the school system. So let's get back onto DMT.
Yes,
because
the whole thing. But I agree. It's a shame to ruin the flow, but I agree. It's a
fantastic topic in itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't help you on the DMT. I've not had any.
No.
Maybe I should though. Maybe I should.
I do want to get back on the DMT topic just because of some of the comments that you did, which was like DMT shouldn't, or someone posted, and much love to you who's ever posted, DMT is not something that should be used by people who have mental health issues or all that. And it is my recommendation that actually of all of the medicine. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Drugs, I don't believe in that word also, but of all of the medicines, DMT is the most gentle. No one has, you don't purge on DMT. You laugh. Like you literally laugh and love. Like there's no throwing up with DMT, at least for me. And I've done it many times since then. And there
are not cases where people it fucks them up.
Experiences, yeah.
Oh yeah, if you're not right mentally, if you're not right mentally, because I think the thing with the sorry, Erin, go on. Sorry, Erin, go on.
If you're not, and most people are not like, but if you're not doing it in proper settings, and there hasn't been the opportunity for there to be proper settings in this like reality because it's quote unquote illegal. But yeah, you don't do any sort of psychedelics outside of a ceremony with a trained shaman who's been through
well, not just that, but everybody's brains on that way. Like mine personally, there's no way I could do it. I would love to experience that full on, the whole ceremony thing, and I would love to have it, go at it, but I know there's no way I could do it. I don't know what would happen, but pardon?
I think I'd like to try it, but I'd have to have somebody there. Do you know, like a proper...
You can't do it. You can't do it, Steve, unless you've been double vaxxed and a booster. That's you're not allowed.
That's me out.
Whatever. It's more stuff that they're like, and that's the funny thing. They're like, okay, this stuff. Okay, but we're not going to talk about that. But no, Steve, you're going to do it. We're going to do this. We're going to do it this summer in South America.
I can promise you, Aaron, I am not doing it in South America. You'll put me off going to South America, for fuck's sake. I didn't even like people smoking blow in the bar. Never mind.
Well, those things, all of those things are way more. And even ayahuasca, I haven't done ayahuasca. DMT, because it's the chemical that it was when you are born, like, and this joyous, like the creation thing. And like Ray said, when quote unquote we're afraid of dying is the most magical thing, because like when you're conscious, because you're normally going to ascend into a higher realm. Like, and if you like read people's accounts of like near-death experiences and how magical it is, like it is magical. DMT, again, there's nothing, it's not like, and this is why
I love the story of Lou Reed when he died. Whoever was round and watching him, it was just as he died, he had this like beautiful, amazing, exciting look on his face.
Really?
When he died, I'm like, oh, that's cool.
What's that? Did they film it or something?
No, they didn't film it, but somebody talked about it. Like, when he died, he looked so.
I don't fucking believe any of those second-hand story fucking shite.
No, don't spoil things, Moz. It's a good story.
I know,
It's
but I'm
a
sorry.
good story, you miserable twat.
I know, I'm not. You're insane. Fuck off. You thought exactly the same.
But I don't know if I've told you this one or not, guys, so forgive me if I have. Just cut me off if I have. Did I tell you that time about my mate who went staying at his grandma's when he stayed overnight, and during the night when he woke up during the night. Boz is going to take piss out of me now. Anyway, he woke up during the night, and when he woke up, at the bottom of his bed was a red Indian chief.
All right.
With feathers on it, tomahawk and everything. And he's like,
wow.
Shit. Anyway, I went, and he wasn't the type for taking piss like. I said, bollocks. He said, I'm telling you, that's what happened. I said, and what did you do? He said, well, I thought I was dreaming. So he said, I got up, he said, I went to the bathroom and I washed my face. And I came back, he said, that Red Indian was still there. And he's like, shit. Anyway, next morning he got up and he said to his grandma, he said, Grandma, he said, last night in my bedroom, he said, there was a Red Indian. And she said, all right. She said, don't worry about it. It's just my spirit guide. And he said she used to go to spiritualist church, but he said she didn't blink an eyelid. Don't worry about it. It's just my guide. So maybe there are other things. But I don't know. He might have been taking piss, but I don't think he was. I don't believe he was.
Cool Tool says that story is first hand was. That could be my cynical nature there, Cool Tool.
Oh my gosh.
No.
That's such a cool story.
Yeah.
And
no, I think are we to call that a do then? We've been on 2 hours now.
Well, thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks a lot for coming on, Aaron. Really enjoyed seeing you again.
You were an absolute star, Aaron. You're an absolute star, and thank you
so
much
for
coming on.
Thank you.
Very good, yeah.
You were absolutely brilliant tonight, Aaron. You were ace. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate you having on. Do you mind if I just share a little few thank yous out with the world?
Yeah, sure. Go on. Go for it.
Well, obviously, thank you to you, Steve, my first business partner in this reality. We built a little bar called Bottle Bar. You can find us on Instagram at Bottle Bar Korong. You can see we built a bar out of plastic because, we gotta be here. And a message to the world, to Earth, is treat Earth like you would want to treat your mom or your girlfriend or your wife or anything. Give lots of love. Stop. Yeah, throwing all this stuff into it and just really love. I want to give a special shout out to Rose Jesus, one of my kings. I was eating some of this from Nevada City Chocolate Shop. It was my Valentine's Day gift this year. So that was kind of the things I was snacking on earlier. Shout out to them. Shout out to my mom and dad. Love them and their amazing home. And and John earlier asked if I've been to a retreat up in Joshua Tree, and the answer is no. I have not been up to a retreat up in Joshua Tree yet, but I'm in the process of actually planning a retreat. So if you want to reach out to me again on the Instagram at EEWattsOFC or at Star Captain Dove, that was my sister earlier. Okay, and then I'm just gonna rattle off a few other thank yous to my bro stars and sis stars. And that would be Laugh, Ultra Fuchsia, Purple, Serenity, DJ Nile, DJ Rio, Mihai, General Regenerate, aka Johnny Blaze. Who else do we have in there? Oh my gosh, the
Americans,
goddesses. Yeah, and I am running for president.
Yeah.
Or an Oscar.
Why the fuck not? Sounds like it'll be fucking fun. But yeah,
what a laugh! It's a great laugh, that.
Yeah.
Aaron, you do know what happens to guests when they come on here, don't you?
Yeah.
What happens to us?
They get fuck off.
You get fucked. You all eventually get fucked off, Ray.
See you guys. Thanks a lot.
No, can we have your goodbye speech, Ray?
Sorry?
Fuck off, that'll do. No, thanks a lot, Aaron.
Thanks for that. So, Steve, let's have a look. Let's have a think now. Let's have a look back. So, what do you think?
What on the whole thing we talked about tonight?
Yeah, after everything you've heard tonight, what do you think?
Well, I don't think I've changed. I still, again, I don't know. I know it's boring, but the mind's fucking amazing. That's the end result. That's the one thing. It's more amazing than what you think about it. Whichever version it is, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah. So what do you think about the that tech? Do you think is it help psychedelics helpful?
Oh, definitely. They're definitely helpful.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. I think they're definitely
dangerous. I don't think we've fully gone through the
absolutely.
Of it.
It's like
we've
anything.
looked on the brighter side of it, but the good thing about today's the bad thing about it is going to get eradicated more. The educational side of it is well known more.
Yeah.
Which is all good. I know I'm very anti all this shit, but there are still lots of good things.
No, there's lots of benefits. It's like anything.
Of it.
Anything can be abused. Fucking marker pens can be abused, can't they? Fucking Yoo-hoo glue can be abused. You know what I mean? Anything can be abused, can't it? But I think I do think it has but I think it's only as a door. I think only as a door to open that. I think after that, I think that's when you should go down the meditation route. Because you don't want to keep...
Somebody said something like, if you answer the phone, you get their answer. You don't always get the answer, put the phone down.
Yeah.
That's the thing people talk about ayahuasca. Whereas, but
you're not going to get it straight. You're not going to get it straight away. Yeah, you're not going to get it straight. But the thing is, though, it's not a good idea, though, I think, personally. I think it could be a good introduction to opening that door and then seeing things. But then there's other ways then, I think, through meditation stuff to achieve that, as opposed to keep taking the drug for a boost.
But that also, I would say, try the Wim Hof way first. Try yoga, try a less risky way.
Definitely.
It's just safer to go. And I think maybe if you were to do the yoga and the breathing techniques, if you were to do all that first and understand your mind more, then possibly you'll be going into that scenario in more of an open mind.
Yeah, the meditation is an absolute thing. Yeah,
of the pitfalls.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the Wim Hof. It's made this researching this has made the Wim Hof more now than what it's ever been to me, and it really is.
Yeah, I get you with that. I mean, what you were saying before is, I feel like the next time I do the Wim Hof, I'm going to really kind of go for that. I feel like I'm not going to be as scared.
Yeah.
Go to that because I know I'm not fully going to go into the place, but.
No, but it's not that. It's not that. It's getting past that bit where you got that. I can't breathe, and you get past that, and then you go.
Facing your fears. It's a face your fear thing.
But you do go when you get to that. You're like, I can't breathe, and when he's not, I'm going to take a breath, and then you don't, and you just chill the fuck out, and then your brain goes, it's all right. It does. Honestly, God, Steve, it's an amazing thing. It really is. It really is. Right, everyone. Thank you very much. Jay, every Wednesday, pal. Every Wednesday we do. I want to do. Well, I was thinking about doing. I don't know what you want to do. I was thinking about doing meditation next week, but I don't know now because I think we strayed a lot into it. So maybe education. I was thinking about meditation. Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about that. But the education.
It could be a good thing to go on to from this because
that's what I was thinking.
It's still quite relevant to the mind.
Yeah. I was thinking
other options of mind.
We're definitely doing the education one. Yeah. But that was ace tonight. Thank you everybody for coming on. That was I really enjoyed that tonight.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
That was ace that tonight. I think that was one of the best ones we've done that on the way. Well,
and I think Saturday we're going back to imitation John Holmes shagging and things like that.
Well, no, you're over here though, aren't you?
Oh shit, yeah. Well, we'll be able to do it live from your house if I bring my computer and that and do like a separate thing.
Oh, that could be an idea, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I'll try and set up a show on
We'll
Thursday
sort
night
something
then.
out anyway.
That's a good idea. That we'll try and get that to work. Right. I didn't think
If
about
not.
that. That's a good idea. Hello, Mark. Mark's here. Hey, how you doing, pal?
Hey, up, Mark.
How you doing, Mark? Good to have you here,
mate.
pal. Yeah. How you doing, pal? Just popped on to say big love to my sis Nicole, my bro Cool Tools, and Top for Legit. Yeah, Mark, come back, Mark. Don't.
Yeah, guys, I think it's obvious tonight why we've been slightly bit away from the chat, because it's very hard with 4 people and stuff. But I know you guys will totally get what's happened.
Oh, absolutely.
But,
yeah. Sorry, we had guests.
I really enjoyed tonight. It was different, wasn't it?
I think it was brilliant tonight. I think it was all there. Well, thank you very much, everyone. It was a brilliant show. Thank you to Erin and to Ray. Ray, come back on as well, Ray. We miss you, Ray. I love Ray being on. He's brilliant. Yeah. So thank you all, folks, and hopefully then we'll see you Saturday, and we'll get something sorted out on Saturday.
Saturday or Wednesday.